What's happening, MJ traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the absolute best MJ community. Today is Wednesday, May 1st, brand new month. Happy hump day, and I hope you're doing awesome. In this video, we're going to be discussing a new bill that was filed and reintroduced to federally legalize MJ. And this comes after the historic move yesterday that the DEA agreed to reschedule to Schedule 3. Now it's going to go through the comment period. Could take a few months. Realistically, it's probably going to be at least 6 to 12 months, in my opinion, before we see it actually enacted. And right now, we're seeing more and more focus, and it just continues to be brought up in Congress. And as we know, Chuck Schumer, Cory Booker, they haven't really gotten anything done. So we take what they say with a grain of salt. But the fact that it just keeps coming up again and again, look at what Nancy Mace is doing. There's just so much awareness, and I really do think that it's a lot sooner than most people think. We're going to get it more than likely descheduled and treated the same as alcohol and tobacco, and they're going to more than likely follow in the footsteps of Canada and Germany. So we'll go over all of this news and more today. Before we get to it, though, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all the good stuff, and we'll let you know whenever we post a new video or whenever we go live as well. And as always, this is not financial advice. You should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or anything that I write. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So I mentioned in my video yesterday that we could see a 10, 20, maybe even more percent pullback based on the amount of upside that we saw yesterday. And a lot of people, I think, were still surprised today that we were down. If you take a look at a lot of our names, we're down on average, 10, 20%. Some names like CGC, it ran harder, so it's falling harder. So it was down about 31% from the high of yesterday. So you can see here from the high to the low, down about 31.5%. And again, I mentioned this again and again, time and time again, that when we run, 30, 40, 50, 80%, like Tilray was up, I think, like 40, 50%. And then CGC on the day was up like 83% from the low of the previous day. So when we looked at CGC, it had no support and it ran 83%. You need to expect a 20 or 30% pullback. It'd be different if it went up 80% in the course of a week or 2 weeks or a month and we established support levels along the way. But literally on the hourly time frame, we had no support. And then sure enough, what happens when you have no support and a big move up, right? Like I said, in very short order, we were up like 83%. And then here we are down 31%. So if you were surprised by today's move, I told you yesterday that this was probably going to happen. And we needed to expect it even after rescheduling was basically approved, right? Still, well, they agreed to reschedule it. Now it just has to go and get it enacted, right? So the fact that people were still surprised. I was surprised that people were surprised, but let me know if you were shocked by this, not shocked by this, if you expected this pullback. But, let that be a lesson that even after bull news, very, very big bull moves, you can still pull back 10, 20, some cases 30%, right? And again, in the future, if we see these stocks or any crypto, if anything goes up 80% in a day, you need to expect bare minimum 20% pullback, like at the very least, right? So hopefully that helps you, maintain your emotions going forward. I also posted this on X, and this is the article I want to jump into here, MJ moment, but this ties in nicely with this article. So Schumer and other Democratic senators filed bill to federally legalize MJ. So this is something that was reintroduced, and I posted this yesterday. I said, chain of events. Schedule 3 announcement. It happened as I said. I expected at some point in April. I even mentioned in this video, I even cropped it out. If only someone warned us just yesterday. And it was literally me saying that on the 29th, I said, watch tomorrow, the last day of April, they'll come out just like they did with the HHS recommendation on August 31st when no one thought it was going to come in August during the recess. And then everybody thought it was going to come in April. Well, majority of people. And then I said, wouldn't that be something if it was on the very last day? And then sure enough, and then we got the announcement just as I mentioned, and likely the way it would happen, right? And then I said, next we get MJ banking, then uplisting. And there was talks from, I think, Boris Jordan, executive chairman and co-founder of Cureleaf. He's basically saying that they're looking at potentially uplisting to the U.S. major exchanges. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think that MJ banking and uplisting will be all around the same time. We got to get the Wall Street banks and institutions and crooks positioned first, right? We can't have Schedule 3 enactment or full-blown federal legalization like this bill without getting your your Wall Street banks and buddies, right? Their buddies involved, right? They got to get the JP Morgans, the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachs, the BlackRocks positioned. Then they'll unleash the shackles on the industry, right? So that's more than likely going to happen next, because we know that these these Wall Street crooks need to have their mittens over every single thing. And then we get the Schedule 3 enactment. And then last but not least, full-blown legalization. Let's get it. So it could very well be that maybe it doesn't get rescheduled to Schedule 3 at all. Maybe, and I mentioned this in my live stream yesterday, I said you need to expect a surprise. And the surprise would be, imagine if they just descheduled it, similar to what Canada and Germany have done. Imagine if they just descheduled it, just bypass Schedule 3 altogether. That we need to prepare for this, right? And you heard it here first. But I still think the most likely scenarios, we get rescheduling to Schedule 3 enacted, Florida on the ballot. So more than likely, if that gets approved, more than likely gets enacted in summer of 2025. So many growth catalysts, Pillar 2 in Germany. Details on that should be forthcoming soon. And then I still think full-blown descheduling and legalization after that. But we need to be prepared for the inevitability. It could happen, right? It could be inevitable that, eventually, like, it's going to happen, right? We're going to see it descheduled and treated like alcohol and tobacco. It's a matter of when, not if. So now the million-dollar question is going to be, do they skip Schedule 3 altogether, or did they just full-blown deschedule it and legalize it at the federal level? So this article today is certainly pointing in that direction. So again, the more days go by and the more data that we get, the more we're able to, use that toward our investment thesis, right? And I also posted this today on X. If you think you missed the boat on MJ, you did not. Tilray is still down almost 97% from February 2021 highs. CGC is still down about 98% from February 2021 highs. Curaleaf still down about 68% from February 2021 highs. And MSOS ETF still down almost 82% from February 2021 highs. And for Curaleaf and MSOS, that was their all-time highs. So this is really a drop in the bucket, right? So I had tons of people asking, when's a good time to buy? Is it still good to buy, right? Like, absolutely. I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but in my opinion, I mean, if CGC is still down 98 and Tilray is down 97 from just February 2021 high, right? Like, the train has left the station in terms of MJ. Like, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Like, this is going to be legalized at the federal level. Train has left the station. It's just, we just barely left the station, right? I'm not sure if you can hear my daughter crying in the background, but this is a really lengthy, mom's watching after, don't worry. But this is a very lengthy article, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, and the Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden and Senator Cory Booker and a coalition of Democratic senators have officially reintroduced a bill to federally legalize MJ. One day after the Justice Department announced that it's moving schedule to look to reschedule MJ in a historic policy shift, the senators held a press conference on Wednesday to unveil the MJ Administration and Opportunity Act, CAOA. So the article is very, very lengthy. They talk about getting MJ businesses access to banking services as well. So this is how we could get MJ banking, full-blown descheduling, and uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ all in one go. So we need to be prepared for this potential scenario as well. And then they talk about it's time to catch up to the American people, give the people what they want. Absolutely. These people are put in there by us and work for us. They're paid by us, the citizens. So absolutely, when the majority want it, we're supposed to live in a democracy where majority rules, right? So give the people what they want and stop protecting big pharma, big alcohol, big tobacco, you financial crooks. So going through here, they go down, again, this is just a bunch of like things that they kind of reiterate over and over again: war on drugs, failed war on drugs, etc. Minority or certain social justices and the harms done to to different types of individuals, right? Obviously, that's a big issue. And another thing is criminal activity, right? There's been tons of robberies and things like that because these companies in the U.S. are acting as all cash businesses, right? It's super attractive for someone who's a thief. So we can't have that, right? It's putting people's lives in danger. So not just, the people that are working there, but also, customers that are in there, right? So also, here's a list of all of the 18 original co-sponsors. And I think my daughter's super hungry. Hopefully that's not too distracting in the background. But here are the key versions of the CAOA as reintroduced. So require the Attorney General to finalize a rule removing MJ from the CSA, Controlled Substances Act, within 180 days of enactment. Impose a 5% federal excise tax on small to mid-sized MJ producers. and then would increase gradually to 12.5% after 5 years. For large businesses, the tax would be 10% and increase to a maximum of 25%. So in Canada, excise tax is going, like Organigram Oxley said, that almost a third of their annual revenue is going to excise taxes. So this is, 5%. That's more like it, right? Like this makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Only those 21 and older would be allowed to purchase recreational MJ products, and is already the policy in the states that have legalized for adult use. Expunge records. They talk about a bunch of other stuff as well. FinCEN, federal laws for interstate commerce as well. But yeah, for the full list on this, like I said, it's very, very lengthy. I would encourage you to go through this article. I'm sure most have probably already saw it or have read it by now. But I highly encourage you to go through it. It's very, very informative. And, it'd take me another 20 minutes to go through it. So I don't think anybody needs me to come on here and read an article to you. So you're very capable of doing this yourself. And CGC finally starting to bounce here on the hourly time frame. But as you can see, there was a lot of red today. CGC, ACB currently down 25%, 18% respectively. Tilray down 17%. And then on USMJ, again, similar types of moves where we're down 10, 20% on average. But yeah, MSOX down 23% at the moment. But again, this is to be expected. Again, CGC ran 83% in a day and then pulled back 31%, right? So you need to be expecting this, and let this be a lesson for the future. If something goes up 80, 90%, it doesn't matter what the catalyst is, right? Could it go up 80% and then go up another 20, 30, 40, 50, 100%? Absolutely. But you still need to expect the inevitable 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% pullback depending, right? And a bunch of people were saying the Tilray performance was abysmal, but same thing here. Tilray went up from the low to the high, went up like 43%, and here we are down 21%, right? So again, CDC up 83%, pulls back 31%. We have a lot bigger move on CGC, so a bigger pullback. Not as big of a move on Tilray, up about 43%-ish, and pulled back 21%. So again, the bigger the move, the bigger the fall. And as of right now, no major chart damage whatsoever. So I can barely even keep my train of thought going here. I'm going to have to go see what's going on. I don't think Mama can seem to tame the baby at the moment. She's just absolutely crying up a storm out there. I don't know if you can hear it. But as always, make sure to smash the like. I appreciate every one of you. Love each and every one of you who supported me along the way. If you found this video helpful, smash the like, share it with your network. And let's get this viral. Let's get it out to as many people as possible. And let me know your thoughts and comments on this in the comment section below if you agree with my chain of events and timelines on how things are going to unfold. All right. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again on the next video. It's Rod with Pow Group, and thanks for joining us again on the Pursuit of Wealth. Exciting times, and I think it's going to continue. So have a great one. We'll talk to you soon.